Hey everyone, welcome back to the Harvest Lumber Company instructional video series for woodworking. Today we're going to be talking about how to put some finish on a nice piece of wood, and we're going to be using OSMO brand finishing products, which we sell in the store. The thing about OSMO that's very cool is it is very easy to use for hobbyists and amateur woodworkers alike, and I know even a few professionals who prefer it over anything else. It's low VOC. Like I said, it's very easy to use, and it comes in a couple different sheens. It comes in matte and satin. Now, before we actually put finish on, the first thing we want to do is get all of the dust off of our piece of wood. And the way that we do that is we use a soft bristle brush like this if you have one, and you can just kind of brush it. If you have an air compressor, that also works as well. And then once you've gotten most of the dust off with either the brush or a compressor, you can just use a rag and gently wipe in the direction of the grain, on the face, on the edges, and on the underside as well. Now we have our piece of wood and it's dust-free, it's ready for finish. Before we actually start the application process, a quick note on how to do it. At Harvest, we really like using the white pads. Now, that's not to say it's the only way. There are a few other ways you can do it. You can use a buffer, you can use a rag. Time and time again, the white pad has proven to be a really good way for us when it comes to OSMO. The way that we use the white pad is we cut it into smaller squares, and with one square, we apply it, and then with another square, we wipe it off. So we're ready to go ahead and put finish on our wood. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and put gloves on to protect not only some of the finish from getting into your skin, keeps your hands clean, but also to keep any oils from your hands from getting onto the wood in the finishing process. The first thing we're going to do after that is go ahead and open up the finish. Now, it's going to be different from finish to finish, whether or not you stir it before you use it. However, with OSMO, we know for a fact they encourage you to go ahead and stir it up before putting any of the finish on. So we're going to go ahead and just stir it a little bit. And once we've stirred it a little bit, the next step is grabbing one of our white pads for application. So with OSMO, a little goes a long way. We're going to take just a little bit, and we're going to start wiping it on in the direction of the grain. Now, like I said, a little goes a long way, so even if it doesn't seem like you have much on the wood, just keep rubbing it onto more dry areas of the wood, and you will see that the finish is spreading across. And I'm moving in the direction of the grain, and I can tell that the finish is being distributed more and more evenly as I go back over and find new dry areas to add it to. So we've gone ahead and applied finish to all the surfaces of our piece of wood, and now it's time for the next step. We're going to remove the excess finish and at the same time buff it with a fresh white pad. The way we're going to do that is we have our fresh white pad. We're just going to gently move back and forth. This is called a buffing or a burnishing motion. So again, it's doing two things at once. It's removing the excess finish, and it's also buffing out and smoothing the sheen of the wood so that it looks really nice at the end of the process. Now, it's okay if you buff it a little bit and you need to touch the surface again one more time in order to get the edges. You can come back and rebuff it and get it nice and clean. Like I said, this finish is super forgiving and it's very easy to use. So once you have applied the finish and then you've removed it and in the process you've buffed it, it's time to let it dry, preferably air dry in a not too humid of an environment, not too hot. And the can recommends letting it dry for 8 hours, although again, this will vary from finish to finish. However, once you've let it dry, let's say overnight, you can now add a second coat, which is what OSMO recommends. The second coat will look just like the first in terms of process. Here is a very important sidebar with regards to finishing. Anytime you're using an oil-based finish, such as OSMO or any number of other oil-based finishes, the rags, the pads, the buffers, they all need to be disposed of properly. The best way to do that is to store them at least 24 hours in a bucket of water. This way they won't spontaneously combust. So just to recap, we have taken a piece of properly sanded wood and we have removed all the dust and debris from it. We applied our Osmo finish with the white pad, and then we removed the excess and buffed it. We have let it dry, and then we added a second coat. And most importantly, we have properly disposed of all of our rags. And all of these products that we've used in the demo today are available to buy at Harvest Lumber Company.